Okay, morning guys. Thanks for coming to attend our seminar. Okay, so I'm Cheng Hai. You can also call me Ernie Quah. Okay, so I'm the VP of Digital Government Consulting. Okay, I'm going to cover, look, the title is Agile Development, Navigating Obstacles and Overcoming Speed Limits. But the things I'm going to mention will not just apply to Agile. In traditional software development, you also will hit this problem. But in Agile, the problem is exacerbated because the turnaround is very fast, right? So let's see what are some of these issues. Okay, so to quick recap, for waterfall, okay, you do things stage by stage, right? You do requirements, the full requirements, you complete that, then you go to design. After capturing all the requirements, you complete the design and decoding. Now, this is actually quite logical. In fact, today, construction industry is still doing all this because like you're building a condo, right? You can't be, after building 4-story, I think I want to add more toilet. It's not possible, right? So it has its place. Software engineering used to be like that, but then people realize that software is soft, so you can change it, right? You can actually add the toilet, so to speak, figuratively, okay, after building 3-story. There's a price to pay, but it's possible, right? So going forward, they adopted Agile. Now, let's take a look from a time. I'm going to talk about time now. From the timeline point of view, for a traditional project, roughly, we are talking about one third. What does that mean? If it's a 1-year project, 4 months or so will be spent doing requirements gathering and analysis. Another 4 months will be spent design and coding. And surprise, surprise, 1/3 is spent on QA, okay? SIT, UAT, system integration testing, user acceptance testing, security testing, performance testing, all the thing, regression testing, everything, 1/3. So 4 months, then you roll out. So that's the typical 1-year project under traditional. Now in Agile, the difference is all these activities, they have this concept of a time box, okay? So this time box is called a sprint in Agile. It's called a sprint. And all the activities happen inside this sprint, which is comprises of 2 to 4 weeks. And important thing to note is, after this sprint, there's always a deliverable. And this deliverable is not a stack of paper. It's not a prototype. It's a real working system, okay? Part of a working system. One of the motivation for doing all this is, there are some projects whereby you do requirements and the requirement doesn't end. Okay, after 7 months, you're still doing requirements. And there are some project major ones, after 2 years, what you have is a stack of paper, no system, 2 years, no. Okay, and after that, in fact, we have used all our funds, we have no money to build the system. If you're doing Agile, this won't happen because after every sprint, they force you to develop some working system, right? Okay, now look at the timeline again. So if you take a context of this 1-year project, for Agile, what will happen is you compress these activities into a 3-week sprint, for example. So in this 3 weeks, you do a bit of requirements, you do a bit of construction and testing, and then after that, you roll out a small subset. You have a small subset of the working system. May or may not roll out, but it must be able clickable. It's actually running. Okay, so this is how so note that you're still doing all these things, but within this 3 weeks window, right? Requirement gathering, green screen design, then after that, coding, testing, design, after that, I'm going through all the process. So how is the whole system built then? Okay, so you do sprint after sprint, you repeat, okay, first sprint, second sprint, third sprint. Then finally, at a certain juncture, you find that you have something that's ready that you can roll out into production. So this is called a release, okay? So you have a sprint, then you have a release. So maybe release 1, okay, can roll out into production. Then what about the rest of the system? You repeat this whole thing. So for 1-year project, you find that you go through all this sprint and all these releases, right? So this is how the picture looks like versus traditional. You ask me what I think of this. I think it's a very good use, very productive use of time, right? It's a good model. But so why you want Agile? Why people switch to Agile? Many reasons. First, agility, right? So business and policy, like MOH and implement policy, you want to wait a few years, okay? Or you want to deliver a new product. Let's say some product now, some AI product, for example, you conceptualize now, and you take 1 year to build. I can tell you by the time you come out, it's obsolete already. Okay, so you need quick time to market. Number 2, okay, implement time to market. Then you want to realize small chunks of business value quickly. Build a project is an investment. When you invest, you want to get the returns quickly, right? You don't wait a long time, then you get some return. And finally, it is very, very important for Agile. They have this concept of retrospective. After every sprint, there's a retrospective. After every release, there's a retrospective. Meaning you find out what works and what doesn't work. And if what doesn't work, you fail fast, meaning you quickly find out. One of the things that doesn't work could be you plan, you do requirement, you clear the screen, and when you try to build, you realize that architecturally this doesn't work. Why? Maybe your design requires a very stable network environment. And for this customer or this organization, the network is not stable. So you want to use, for example, some sort of synchronization architecture, you find that it cannot, it keep on dropping. You have to change your architecture. So you learn very, very fast in the project. After 2 sprints, 3 sprints, I think cannot, must redo. Instead of you complete your whole design 4 months, build everything another 4 months, and then when you test, you realize like, shucks, this thing doesn't work. I got to redo my whole 8 months worth of work. Okay, so many advantages for Agile, but what are the trade-offs? There are also some trade-offs. So you notice that everything is compressed. So from like, wow, there's so much 4 months to go and get a requirement and confirm. Now you have only weeks or days to confirm the requirements, including the screen design, okay, which is very, very important. Means application all about screen, right? So it's compressed. The trade-off is the compressed. So you have less time. It's more hectic. Okay, you work with Agile team, it's very hectic. Okay, so let's look at some real-life observation on the ground. Okay, when you do build application for Agile or non-Agile, these are the same. First, the customer, the UI UX of the application is very important to the customer. Okay, naturally, right? Because that's everything they can see, right? Sometimes when we show them a demo, we want to have some feedback from them whether the workflow is correct. First thing they tell us is, hey, this color is wrong. No? Hey, this icon positioning is wrong. Hey, the line, how there's a gap between these two lines. Your font size is not correct. It's not going to all these, So we know that from our experience, UI is very important to them. And these are sometimes these are not junior people, these are senior people. They straight away go in. So because of this, observation 2, we spend a lot of time working with them, defining the UI, refining and revising. A lot of chunk, one big chunk is spent doing all these things. Okay. And number 3, to make matters worse, UI UX is very subjective. You ask 10 different people, you get 10 different opinions. All right, I can tell you one story, which is I remember very vividly. Esplanade. When Esplanade was first rolled out, before the launch, we were the company that built the website, the CRM, customer relationship management, and all those systems for them. It's us against Accenture. Somehow we kick out Accenture and then we do it. Accenture came there for 3 months already. So it's a very big, Esplanade is like the Sydney Opera House equivalent. I think it is. So that time, they wanted to bring in a very super duper UI UX company called O&M, Ogilvy and Matter, right? So this O&M came, they fly in the consultant, the guru, from overseas to the Singapore office to do the Esplanade project. This guru, when we saw him, he's really like a guru. He wear white all the way. His hair is up to here, behind straight one, got beard. Okay, like that, like the Chinese sensei, like that, like a beard. But he's an Ang Mo, so it's very interesting. It's guru. So guru spent a lot of time with us and the Esplanade director to design the UI for the homepage and all the different second level pages. Okay, go through a lot of time, revise, go through many level approvals. So finally, about 3 weeks before Esplanade launch, we show it to Benson, which is the CEO. Benson took one look and said, "This nonsense, I don't like this." Oh, God. So he said, why? Okay, so I know why lah. Because the time they did a lot of animation, the time using Flash. Okay, very jazzy, very Flash. But not many browsers have Flash. You click, you must wait for Flash come down, right? So secondly, you realize, say, I want something simple and clean. I don't want all these, like, no. Wow. So we go back to tell the guru, hey, actually, sorry, you got to change all this, because the big boss doesn't like it. Guru refused. Okay, hey, I'm the guru. You ask the guru to change my design. He flew off. Okay. O&M didn't even collect any payment after finishing a job. Then we jalat. Left 3 weeks. How? 3 weeks to launch. So I go and ask my humble little graphics artist in-house on. I don't remember whether it's C2 or somebody else. Come, urgent. Work with the Benson CEO to come out with the design. So all the things came out by this humble, low-level, entry-level graphics artist. And it was rolled out. All right. So this shows the importance about this subjectivity of a UI UX. Usually, who will make the decision? There's this, not say joke lah. There's this thing called the hypo or the hippo will make the decision. Who is the hippo? Highest paid personnel opinion. Okay. So the question now is, usually the hippo not available, right? You do all the project, then finally got to show him. Okay. So how to solve this problem? Okay. Is there a way? So is there a way? Now, hippo cannot attend the meeting, but hippo will read email, right? Hippo can, so is there a way to solve this problem? Okay. So my point is, it's very, very subjective, meaning there's a lot of ways to get it wrong. Next, the way you design an application screen is also very subjective. There are many ways to do it. Today, if I tell you calculate GST 9%, in the code, there's only one way to do it, right? There isn't like 8, 9 ways. But if I tell you, I give you 10 fields or 20 fields, I want you to design a screen. There are many ways of doing it. Today, you look at the internet, capturing a personal particulars, all those, there's so many ways. So again, there are many ways to get it wrong. Meaning, if I do something, after that I show the customer, chances are he'll say that this is not what I want. Unless I can show him exactly what's going to be built, right? Then to make matters complicated, this UI UX design process is actually broken up into 2 stages, right? First is prototyping, then coding. Why? Because it's done by 2 different groups of people with different skill set. Not only different skill set, different brain chemistry. Okay, so these are different characters. So the UI prototyping done by graphics designers and BA. Okay, so people, the creative class, the conceptualization class, and then the actual coding is done by programmers, right? You have they call the responsive UI code. Responsive means this code that I've done, whether I show it on a 40-inch PC screen, whether I show it on a laptop, whether I show it on an iPad or a phone, it must lay out by itself correctly. The components are rearranged themselves to show based on the form factor, right? So that's mean by responsive. So these people, they use for after 20 years, there's no change. It's still the same. HTML, JavaScript, cascading style sheet. These are the technology. So they use Eclipse, Visual Studio, and all the technical tools, right? So these are programmers. So these things look like that. After you design and prototype, it looks like that. But when you do the responsive UI code, it looks like that. So different group of people are doing so. Usually what happens is there's a rebuild. So after the UI group has confirmed, very much try to as much as possible confirm the layout of the customer, they will pass it to this group. They will do a rebuild to make sure that after they rebuild, they try to make it look like that again. Okay, so that's coding. So things to note is first, there's a skill set and tool chain disconnect, right? What you do here, there's a disconnect, then you redo it here, rebuild it here. Secondly, here is easy to make changes, all right? Here is more difficult to make changes because if you look at this, right? So there are some people who try to solve the problem. If you have a lot of time, right from day one, they start with this. They go and code using HTML and then show the customer. But this takes a long time, right? And if you do this, when the customer want to change something, then you go in and start to figure out how to do it again. And remember, in Agile, we don't have time. It's just 2 weeks only, okay? So tool set and skill set disconnect. Finally, besides the loss of productivity, which is obvious because you're reworking something, there's also loss of accuracy, right? So you get a requirement, this is a requirement. Then after that, you pass it to the developers, they come out, this is the product. Then after that, you show this product to the customer will tell you, this is a totally wrong animal, right? This animal on the right is a lion. This guy on the left is not a lion. Who can tell me what is this animal on the left? Okay, it's the liger, correct? Actually, price for this actually. It's the liger. Can you see the stripes here? It's a cross between a lion and a tiger. It's a very big animal. Okay, so there are about 20, 30 of these around the world. So it's different. Lion and liger are different species technically. Okay, so you loss of fidelity. Okay, from here to here due to this disconnect. Okay, so from a customer point of view, what happened? First problem may be, I keep hearing this okay. The form is correct, but the look and feel is not what I have in mind. So what could have happened is you use a low fidelity prototype. Okay, you build. So the form is, the feel is correct. But when I look at this one, it kind of, this is not my corporate color. No, this one doesn't write. So there is a change. So this is an example. When you have a complicated form, a lot of things can happen and give you a lot of feedback. So this will be one of the issue. So next complaint, this is very, very common complaint. Hey, I give you all the feedback. How come you all never take it? You never implement the feedback? Why? So the reason could be when you show them the prototype is 2 separate tracks. One track for the prototype, then another track, all the feedback, right? You're busy taking in the notes of meeting, okay? So after that, you go back, then some of these are lost because they are not chained together. So from the BA side, at least they still remember some of the things, those who attended the meeting. When you pass it to the programmer, all lost already, okay? So this is the second problem. So resulting in, again, a loss of productivity because when you show the customer a screen, it's fast and furious. Okay. So third, this is the other extreme of the problem. You say, hey, this screen design you show me, it doesn't look like the prototype. So what happened is this: the group, the BA group or the graphics designer, they could have used a high-end imaging tool for the prototyping, right? So it gives you some static and some dynamic prototype. So when I show you this thing, oh, okay, Mr. Customer, this thing very nice. There are 4 departments. When you click on this department, the butterfly will fly over here. Okay, then I click over here, the butterfly will fly over here. Okay, then finally, when I go to the programmer, I tell you, it's not possible to do responsive to butterfly flying around. Then after that, you go back to the customer, you show him something that's downgraded. Then you say, you're not like, this is not what you show me, right? So, and this is more serious actually when you have waterfall, because you would have signed off the requirement specs. And then the customer will get this feeling, okay, this is what you promised me. Then 4 months later, or actually 8 months later, you tell him, wait, this is not what I signed off, and then you tell him that, oh, I can't deliver. Then contractually, there's a problem, okay? And finally, is there a way to get rid of this? Okay, because you realize, after all these things, when the customer have this objection, right, what will he do? He will ask you to change, right? Then you go back, the programmer, they'll say that, hey, don't forget, for Agile, the user story already coded. It's not a prototype anymore. It's a working system already with cascading style sheet. Then maybe we got API call to the back end. So to change takes a lot of effort, So you have reworks, loss of productivity. Then you may end up conflict with the customer. Okay, you start to have fights, or some system customer is fair. Okay, fine, you consume my story point. So you waste of resources, right? So all these things are the result, okay, of all the problems I mentioned just now. Okay, so is there a way? The final question now, is there a way to clear away all these issues for Agile? Agile is good, okay, it's good, but it has its downside. So is there a way to get the best of both worlds? Okay, so bearing in mind, whatever the Agile cycle is only 3 weeks, okay, bearing in mind it's like that. Okay, so first, is there a way to resolve this issue where form design is correct, but look and feel? So look and feel. So is there a way to make these two the same? Okay, you show the customer this, and then after they will deliver exactly the same thing. Then this problem won't be there, right? Is there a way? Next, is there a way to make sure that feedback is not lost, right? You have so many feedback, right? And even better still, hypo cannot attend the meeting. Is there a way to send the thing email to hypo and let the hypo confirm the thing, okay, and even give feedback? Okay, is there a way? Third, is there a way not to promise the customer, over-promise, right? Not over-promise. So you give something realistic. Again, what you show the customer is what he finally gets. Then there will be no complaint. And finally, is there a way to break this disconnect? Why need to rebuild? You lost, first of all, loss of productivity, loss of time, and then it's not green, it's not sustainable. Sustainability means you cut wastage, right? Here, you need to do this, you turn on your laptop, you consume power, and so is there a way to obliterate this gap over here, all right? So I will leave it. So these are the 4 questions I want you to have in your mind. So I leave it to the rest of my colleagues who will cover, okay, what the strategies you can use to overcome this. Okay.